Welcome to Walthamstow Wrinkly Walks. We are crossing this grassed area towards our market square, which used to be a grass park with a bowling green, sheltered seating huts mainly for older folks as I am now, and also a 6-foot drop-board with pieces being moved with a 3-foot hook poles I've attached to an old photo. This area was tarmacked over, making a bus stand, and later moved to our right for the making of our present bus station, which was also another grass park area with swings, roundabouts, a massive slide, and also 2 football fields. As we walk across to our market square, which is a great asset to the borough, I remember the old Sir George Monarch's school to our left, just before the shopping centre. We continue across the square, and over to the right is the NatWest Bank. And turning round the corner to the right, facing the new addition to our library, which was formerly our local swimming pool. I've included a snapshot of the old swimming baths and the rear of the library. Entering the elegant front entrance of our library is like stepping into the past. The main wooden staircase leads to the mezzanine floors, with 2 stairways leading to the upper floor. Ornate plaques displaying family trees of Walthamstow's past prominent people are on the higher level, and coats of arms of other important people, such as Sir George Monarch's, Henry Maynard, William Morris, and many others, are back down on the mezzanine floor. Descending this marvellous staircase will make anybody feel regal and important. And to top it all, there's a marvellous aquarium upon the exit. Opposite the library was Marsh Street Methodist Church, and on the corner was Times Furniture Store. On the other corner was the gas showrooms, and the LEB Electric showrooms was further up Churchill. It was an elegant 1950s building with a very large revolving glass door, like the posh London Savoy Hotel in the Strand. We had great fun running and walking around the front entrance of the door as a boy. We turn into our first alleyway, which is at Rathbone Villas. It's been decorated in a bohemian style, and it leads to our bus station. We take a stroll along the relatively new plane tree path built for the new apartments to our left, and we have our bus station on the right. We exit passing a Tesco Express, crossing Selborne Road, leading to Walthamstow Central Train Station. We move through the ticket hall of the station. I actually remember steam trains running here well before the underground was built, and have attached an old photograph. This sloping walkway was once a slip road leading from High Street to the Central, formerly named High Street Railway Station. There was a tea hut on the entry to the slip road, creating an attractive nighttime meeting place for the local rockers and their motorbikes. No mods or scooters were allowed. On the other corner is the formerly named Tower Pub Hotel. I have attached an old photo of the towers and a clip on Tower Mews leading from High Street to the rear of the pub. Crossing High Street Bridge, remembering the post office, a tailor's and a mixture of other shops, with greys coaches located through a narrow passageway to the rear of the shops. The shops were demolished to make way for the widening of the bridge. A council poll tax office was built, then replaced with this apartment block. We proceed along St Mary Road, passing by what was a locksmith, with a car parking yard just beside it, which is once Hitchman's Dairies. They daily delivered milk in glass bottles, door to door, on an electric barrow, 7 days a week. We passed a magnificent mural on an old barber's shop, facing an optician's that was on the opposite corner. Following up St Mary Road was a parade of shops, including a sweet shop, a chemist, upholsterers, that led on to Jobstock store selling surplus war items. This must be the best cat to have. No vet or food bills, but can't show much affection. A rather posh house lays back from the roadway. I remember a great big Rolls Royce being parked in the garage. It later became a doctor's surgery before becoming residential apartments. On the next corner is a large mosque built on an old run-down factory complex. Proceeding along to Church Path, these apartments were also built on the factory premises. These converted apartments are at the start of Church Path. We proceed up Church Path and pass this blue-framed house, which is claimed to be the narrowest house in Walthamstow. But that's contested by a house in Grosvenor Road. We follow these rather quaint houses to our left, and we have the museum's gardens to our right, leading to the side of the museum. Passing the side of our museum, we turn to the frontage. We see Walthamstow's first police cell to the right, and a magnificent column taken from the 17th century General Post Office building in St Mary le Gratland. We see the cafe, which is recently reopened. It makes a latte on the terrace very conducive. As we go into the museum, which is free to enter, there will be no commentary inside as it's not appropriate. Walking over the Liverpool Street to Chinkford train bridge brings back memories of waiting to see steam trains passing underneath. The estate to our left was built on the rear of our once Connaught Hospital, entrance from Alford Road, and have enclosed a couple of old photos. Passing by this elegant cottage type house that leads onto an encaged tarmacked area. This was once a grass-parked area with swings and roundabouts, but it was tarmacked over and fenced off in compensation for losing the two park areas, now our bus station. I think we was diddled. Opposite the park is our old sorting office, which is now moved to Church Hill. On the entrance wall there's a plaque stating that victims of the plague were buried in the park opposite. Following up the road, facing the museum, is Walthamstow's oldest spiritualist church. A little further along is Walthamstow's first fire station. It was operated by handcart and later modernised with horses. Opposite is a row of almshouses with a plaque saying it's erected in 1795 for the decayed tradesmen's widows and no other. I believe now it's for people who has contributed to the community. Leading on to our right, there's a short row of cottage type houses and some shops. On to the next corner is the 1435 ancient house, which is believed to be the oldest house in London, refurbished in 2001. Crossing over to St Mary Church is an original Victorian pillar box. From the alley and pathways throughout St Mary's, there's many accessible entrances to the old graves. The grounds are kept in a lovely condition, making pleasant, peaceful rambles. If you're lucky, you may see squirrels and even a fox or a vixen. Before we go into the church, we see the old St Mary's School. Entering the church, there'll be no commentary. Just enjoy. The Reverend Vanessa Conant is the rector and the Reverend Alan Moss is the associate priest, and both will make you feel very welcomed. Strolling around looking at the headstones, you will get a little local knowledge of the history of past residents in Walthamstow. Very intrigued reading this sign. I can't imagine it's of reference to any particular person, but probably related to the pond life. We exit to Vinegar Alley, which we will explore a little later. Entering the churchyard brings back memories of our monthly church parades when I was in the Young Braves Association. The marching and flag waving was great, but the church service was very, very boring, unlike now. The old rectory is behind this fence, now belonging to the Green School. The new rectory was built on grounds of a very big house housing a large family. Peter Sellers made a film called Heavens Above, which the storyline could have well been taken from here. We're going back through Vinegar Alley into another row of almshouses. It may not be everyone's idea of a home surrounded by graveyards, but the feeling of peacefulness and silence is deafening. It's like having an open aviary of birds and wildlife, which is fantastic, and I love it. Returning to the alley, we proceed to Vinegar Stinks, so called because the locals poured vinegar into the ground, which was a plague pit. This was a football field area when I was a boy, and being in the Young Braves Association, we held sport days and fetes here. They were great times. As we come out of the alley, we turn into Church Lane and then into Shernall Street. Over the road was an alleyway between the Lordbrook pub and allotments where my dad had a plot, and small terrace houses led down to Wood Street. Over the road was Wolsey's ice cream factory, now turned into apartments. I've enjoyed our time together and hope you have too, and we'll post another Wrinkly Walks a little later. Bye.